Good morning, friends. It is Stacy Krolak here with Sip with Stacy, and we are live this morning with Courtney DeMarco from Ohio. And I just couldn't be more excited to have her on the program today. And let's just spill the tea about her and find out a little about her passions, what she's doing with the council, and how that is working. So thank you, friends, for joining us. Don't forget to grab your favorite tea and join us at whatever it is, or maybe even a cup of Joe, if that's what you like, but whatever you like, okay? So, oh, look at Courtney has hers. Awesome, awesome. So the idea behind the live stream leadership is to take a deeper dive into the council's leaders that are living the mission, vision, and value. And so someone had tapped me on the shoulder, and I love sharing that. So that's why I want to shine a light on other leaders that are in our council to find out who tapped them on the shoulder, what their passions are, and just dig a little deeper. So without further ado, Courtney, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I was so excited when I got the email asking me to be here. So very excited.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, well, let's just start right off, Courtney. How many years have you been in the business?
27.
27? How can that be possible? You look 27.
Well, I appreciate that. It's a lot of Estee Lauder, but I am not 27. I actually got into the business in junior high and all throughout high school and in my early adult years. I worked at my family's real estate brokerage. I was a telemarketer and a receptionist, and I handled the mailings. Of course, we had fax machines and typewriters back then, but I loved it. I loved talking on the telephone to people, and setting up appointments is what I was really good at. And after that, I got recruited to a title company.
Oh.
I know. So I said, hey, listen, they were going to pay me a few more dollars. And I worked at that title company all through subprime. I did everything from the receptionist to ending up being an escrow officer. And when subprime crashed, I went to work at Fifth Third Bank as a loan closer, and the market shifted and they kind of realigned where their ops were going to happen. So I was working at KeyBank, Bank of America, and then I decided to get into the fun world of direct lending, where I have been for the past decade.
Wow. Wow. That is wonderful. That is quite a resume. And so, you know what, that just makes you a better leader and being able to have bring more to the table. So I love that, because wow, what a wealth of information and knowledge you have standing behind your name. So that is fabulous. Wow, that is really cool. So this is another testament that you just don't know what you don't know about some of your friends that you've met over the years. And Courtney and I just got to spend some time at the Ohio State meetings, and I didn't even know this. So that's awesome. Now, working in all those different areas and then finally settling into lending, let's talk about the best piece of advice you were given along that leadership journey.
Yes, the best piece of advice that I was given along that journey were from my friends, Mary and Mo. They're best friends. They were members of my local association, ACAR, and they told me, you should become a Women's Council member. And I did, and I never looked back. And so I have been a part of Women's Council for 8 years now, and it has been the best 8 years of my career. All the connections and friends and support that I've made over the years, there's just no looking back.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
And I love them. And every time I see them, they pinch me and I pinch them, and we give each other a hug, because, you know, you can start off and not know where it's going to go. And then the unthinkable and the unimaginable can happen. And it's like, it became like a dream come true, you know? So it was really great. And I got to spend time with them at the Ohio Realtors conference and then the state meeting. So that was awesome to see them there.
Oh, that's wonderful. And it is true. It's just one person tapping us on the shoulder and encouraging us to go forward. And this is such a special organization that we are just so fortunate to be a part of and take the ride, because there are beautiful relationships happening all over the nation just because of Women's Council and the connections. Courtney and I were just talking about it, how, because of Women's Council, we probably know somebody in every single state. And if we don't, someone that we know knows someone in that state or smaller city. And it's the power of the network, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I never knew I would have so many friends across the country. And that's all because of Women's Council. And so now that we have social media, you can really get closer and get to know people just through social media. You feel like you're a part of their journey. And then we have these wonderful tools now like Zoom that we can get deeper connected, right? And help share each other with information to grow our businesses and to grow our network. And then when we see them at these national meetings, it's like a family reunion, right? We're all running towards one another, hugging each other, happy to see each other, and you leave every time with at least 5 new friends. So then your friendship circle and your tribe, it just keeps growing and growing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now let's talk about, you're a national affiliate, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so I love this because most of the people that I've interviewed so far on Sip with Stacey, they have been realtors. Okay, and so I love to see this spin and this angle. So as a national affiliate, let's talk about the power of influence and what that has done for your business.
Sure. So when you join as a national affiliate member, you become one of the group. You are a member just like everybody else. You're a part of the tribe, and it gives you the ability to make those connections, make those deepened relationships, and roll up your sleeves and work to help grow the network and to be able to pour into one another and really be a contributing person, and also to be able to receive in the form of those relationships and deepened relationships. So I wouldn't change it for the world. I will be a national affiliate member until, well, you get it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So if you're in a national affiliate and you're out there wondering, should I join Women's Council on this platform? Please reach out to Courtney and talk to her and find out all the benefits that she has received, because I think this is important, because just looking from the outside in, I don't think we have enough national affiliates. And obviously Courtney is seeing this as a huge value in her business.
Yes, and in my life overall, because some of the best friends that I have are the friends that I've made through Women's Council. So it's just priceless. I think a national affiliate membership is $195, and there's the opportunities to be strategic partners at your local, state, and national level. And those obviously come with some additional things as well. So it's good to inquire about that as well. But the cost of membership to be involved in a group in such a high level way that you're going to make friends that are going to be your friends forever, it's priceless.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is great. Okay, now let's talk about community involvement, Courtney. What are you involved just locally in your community? And do you bring Women's Council members into that platform as well? Do you wrap your arms around them and then you cross-pollinate? How does that work?
So I have a lot of different things that I'm into in my community. I run several different Facebook groups in my area to help people connect, ask questions, what's happening in and around the community. I never imagined where those would go either. The groups that I run in my community have about 10,000 people in them from my neighborhood. So it's a nice way to hear what's happening, know what's happening with our Chamber of Commerce, what's happening at the schools, what's happening in real estate, what's happening with new and local businesses. And it's a great way to meet neighbors and stay connected with neighbors. And yes, a lot of my Women's Council friends live in my neighborhood and sell houses in my neighborhood. And it's great to see them utilizing the group to stay in front of the community. So that is one of my favorite things that I do. Also, through my company, Fairway, we do have a couple different foundations that we really are involved with and that we can give back to communities across the country. So we have an American Warrior Initiative. This is to help our nation's heroes, our veterans, and our servicemen and women. And then our Fairway Cares Foundation, which helps people in a time of need, maybe illness and sickness, and through death and life situations like that. And then my favorite group is our Fairway Empowers Her. It's all about uplifting and supporting women, and helping deepen our businesses and our relationships and things like that. So love being a part of that as well.
Amen to that. Amen to that. So I absolutely love that. Now, this is one of my very favorite questions. Connie Myers out of California, or sometimes she's in Las Vegas. She is a national speaker for the Women's Council. She's also an author, but when she interviewed me in Las Vegas, after I spoke to them, she asked me this question. I use it on all my interviews. Courtney, were you born a leader?
I believe I was. I do believe I was, and I think if you met my mom and dad, you could say that definitely some of it is nature. And then what we choose to do and how we choose to invest in ourselves, that nurture piece, we can grow it and develop it more, because it definitely takes some work and there's a lot of lessons that we learn along the way. But I think right away, even when I was a little girl in kindergarten, the teachers would tell my parents, she really likes to talk. She's smart. Yeah. And so I think it started at a very, very early age. But what you do to grow and enhance and make yourself a better leader, that's where we have to invest in ourselves so that we can be better for the people that we were born to serve.
Absolutely. We have to keep investing in ourselves and developing our skills so we can keep helping others, correct?
Yeah, that's it. Every day. Even after all these years, I learn something new every day, constantly reading articles, reading blogs, listening to audibles, listening to podcasts, listening to my fellow Women's Council people across the country. I love tuning into these interviews because you pick up one little thing every time that you can use to be better in business, to be better as a leader, and to be better as a human.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the key. When we really trickle it all down, it's the human factor, right? If we're better humans, we're probably doing the right thing 99% of the time. And that's what I think we've all found out after really coming together as a community, as a world, with all of the COVID and everything. We've really learned that. It's a wonderful lesson. So thank you for bringing that up. I know a lot of times during COVID, when I love Zoom, don't get me wrong, but that's all we were doing because our communities were pretty much shut down, right? And I was like, I'm kind of getting depressed here. What do I do? And so my go-to, and I know we just discussed this in Ohio, is I go and I get on either a TED Talk for inspiration, just to pull myself out of it. But I love Denzel Washington and his speech, Never Give Up. And so I'll just go walk in my neighborhood and I put that on and I listen to it. And I'm like, yes, I can do anything. And so you have to find out in life what that is going to bring you out and pull you out, because we all have our times where we trip and we fall, right? And so we've got to figure out those techniques that work for us, that are going to help us. So what helps Courtney when she has a little trip or a little hiccup?
Music.
Yeah.
Music, talking to my mother, right? Talking to people that love you no matter what. So even if I make a mistake, even if I mess up, because nobody's perfect, and it doesn't matter how old you are or how, what your title or your position is, right? We can all have a bad day or a bad situation. So definitely I know that no matter what, my mother loves me no matter what, even if I'm a jerk, right? And so talking to her, and I know that she'll pray for me, listening to music. And I do have a circle of close friends that I love and respect very, very much. And sometimes you just need your friend to tell you, stop that. Stop that right now. That's not about you. You pick it up, keep it moving. You've got to keep this moving. You're not thinking right. Your head's in the wrong space. Keep this moving. And that can change everything. A hot shower, a good shampoo, a cup of coffee, and some Sia. I'm ready to change the world.
Here we go. There's
Here
no
we go.
stopping her now.
Unstoppable, unstoppable.
I love that. I love that. Now, in talking to you off this podcast, my husband is Italian and I know you're Italian. So we've talked about the food. And I
Yeah.
think your dad is in Italy right now, right? He's
He
learning
is.
more pasta. He's making pasta and he's doing things. So let's talk about that.
So my dad loves to cook, and he loves, he loves to learn about where he was from, and, where his people were, what kind of wine they drank, what kind of food they drank. So he is over there in Italy right now enhancing his skills. And he agreed that when he comes back, he is going to teach pasta making at our local network orientation. So if you come to our local network
I hope I get an
orientation,
invitation.
let me tell you, you are going to make homemade gnocchi, and then you're going to get to take that home, and we are going to eat homemade pasta, meatballs, salad. Our strategic partners are bringing in cannolis and tiramisu. We're going to have a beautiful meal. Everybody's going to learn how to get their the directory and their profile set up so that they can get referrals from across the country. We're going to talk about the save the dates for all of the state and the national meetings. We're going to do our local year at a glance, and really having people at a table together. So when everyone's at a table together, don't sit by your friends. We're mixing you up. When you sit at a table and you get your hands into some eggs and some flowers or whatever it might be, in that space of creativity, people grow and they bond and they make connections. So we're not just connecting the pasta together, but we're going to connect these people together and let them work on something that they can create together. And it's just going to end with a delicious finish. So that was our president's idea. She said, I always wanted to do a pasta making class. So then the conversations start happening, the collaboration happens. You think about the why and what it is we're trying to, the results and the outcome, and it just like turned into this beautiful thing. So very excited for that.
Oh, so I think it's connecting members with pasta or through pasta or something like that. I don't know. We got to come up with something.
It's oodles and oodles of fun, oodles and noodles of fun.
So that was Carly's idea.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
She's
well, hands off to
awesome.
Carly. I want an invitation for that because
Yeah.
that's true. And it really speaks to maybe many different peoples, but especially Italians, just because we're so connected with the Italian, family and heritage. But you know what? There are no strangers when you sit down at a table with Italians. When they eat together, that's when they actually, just really connect, and it's really a part of their culture. So I love that you're incorporating that and doing something fun together, and then learning, and then just all bonding. So that sounds like a beautiful collaboration.
It is very exciting, and I'm so glad that she thought of it, because it's everything that I ever wanted.
Well, thank you, Carly, for thinking of that. That is great. So now I want to talk about what is the best piece of advice you've ever been given in your career?
It's to not take things so personal. Not everything is specifically about you. And sometimes even when other people make it about you, it's really because of something potentially in them or something that's missing in them. It's not necessarily about you. And other people's opinions about you are none of your business, right? So when we put the focus on the goals and the results that we're trying to get and doing good, then all of that stuff just kind of dissipates. And it's hard because we do take things personal, with our business. Well, why didn't they pick me? With our leadership. Well, why didn't they like my idea? Those type of things. And it's not just about you though. And so that's, I feel like that's a lesson that I'm always working on, because it's easy to go there. It's easy to go there. And that's one of those moments where you have to pull yourself up and say, okay, what's the result we're looking for? What goal? What are we trying to accomplish? And keeping your eye there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that is a hard one. It's not about us. And so, yeah, I totally agree but it's a hard one, but we get through it. Okay. Now, Courtney, what makes you cry?
What makes me cry? Oh, well, I had a very kind of rough, crazy encounter a little while back with COVID myself. I almost didn't make it. And so I really went through a rough time with some PTSD and recovering and learning to walk again and talk again and eat again and just getting back into, trying to have a life, and fear of mortality and things like that. But that's not what makes me cry. What makes me cry is the amount of people that showed up to love and to support and to care and to pray. And when I think about it, I'll start shaking and just thinking about it, because some of the love and the support and the care and the outpour of prayers that came in were from my women's council friends from all across the country. And when I laid in my hospital bed, kind of out of my mind, if I'm just being honest, my mom would bring in the mail. She was the only person that was allowed to come visit me. You could only have one person. Once you got out of ICU, you could only have one person that would come in during that time because of COVID. And she would bring those cards and she would say, and this person, it says, WCR Nevada. This person, it said WCR Stark. This person, it said WCR Dayton. And she's like, these cards are coming in from all across the country. And I couldn't say much, so I just laid there, but she read them to me and it brought me a lot of comfort. And of course, there were tears. That was one thing my body could do at that time. It was cry. So a lot of tears, and you don't ever forget that. And when you see these people, you remember that. It just comes back. You remember that. I'll never forget the amount of love that came during that time, because I don't know that most people have an experience that's a near death experience, right? Hopefully nobody ever has to go through that. If you do, it changes you forever.
Absolutely. And it probably, I would think, brings clarity of what is important in life and who were the people that were there for you.
Who were the people that were there for me?
Yeah. When you go through a life experience like that, it probably brings clarity of what is important in life and who was there, because you'll never forget that, right?
Oh, 100%. So obviously, my mother was there, my children were there. The amount of people from the realtor community as a whole, people had joked around with me when I started to get better and came back out that I broke the internet, because the realtor community was praying for me so often. And my women's council people were putting out prayers and putting out special vibes and things like that for my family. And my good friend, our local immediate past president, Cindy, when they had the state meeting, this was the first time, because I was in a coma, she went to the state meeting with the other girls without me, and they printed my face out and put them on popsicle sticks and brought them to the state meeting and passed them around and took pictures as if I was there. Because at your state meeting, what we do. We all stand next to each other. We're dressed up and we all have our lipstick and our earrings on, and we take all our selfies and we're all having fun. But I wasn't
We
there.
do karaoke.
We do karaoke. And they did that with me on a popsicle stick. And so then when I woke up and I saw that, one of them ended up at my house. One of the girls, Cindy, must have brought it over and given me one. And when I saw those pictures, when I was able to get on Facebook and see the pictures and see all of that, just so touching.
Oh, that was amazing. Now, at mid-year, when you spoke, I went to your class and your presentation was so touching. I don't think there was a dry eye in the audience. You did such a great job. And what touched me so much was your mother. Her power of prayer and never giving up, and please just highlight some of that for me, because that was just so amazing. And something about a priest. She talked to a priest, right? And had them, go over that again.
So, my brother died when he was 33. So my mom's already buried a child, which no mother should ever have to do, right? So we all, whether you've had children or not, you can all imagine that this is anybody's worst nightmare. And so when they told me I was going on the ventilator, they said, you need to call someone so that we can make these arrangements. And I called my mother on FaceTime and I told her that I was going on, and I could just see her face went white. And she just, the tears were running down her face. And then I was out for a month. But she prayed every single day. She called every minister. She called every friend. I don't think she slept for a whole month. She spent the whole entire time on her knees praying for me and calling people and asking them to pray for me too. So when they first said, okay, so you can come to the hospital, I could hear her running down the hall. Of course, when she saw me, she looked at me and was terrified when she saw me, because after being in a coma, laying in a bed for a month, you're not exactly in your best shape. But she came back the next day with a bag, like a big Target bag, and it was loaded with lotion and wash rags and soap and an electric razor, you could imagine, right? After being in a coma. And she just started, getting me all together like a little pet parlor in there. And she came every day. She came to that hospital every day until I was finally ready to go to a rehab center. So she said to me, I was never giving up on you. And I'll never forget that. Yeah, I'll never forget that.
What an amazing mother. Wow. Wow. We could all have mothers like that. That is amazing. So yeah, your presentation touched me so deeply. I remember I ran up to the front and I just gave you a hug because I was like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. And I just love the love, because the story behind your whole presentation is the love of not only your mother and your family, but everyone in the community supporting you, and love makes us all better, right?
Yes.
Okay, so at National Affiliate, you got to present at mid-year at one of our conferences. So national affiliates, if you're out there, don't think that you can't present. You can present. So that is another opportunity, national affiliates. But now I want to talk about we talk about, tapping other people on the shoulder. Let's talk about who Courtney has tapped on the shoulder and brought into the council as a national affiliate.
Okay, so many friends, because as you go along out in your travels every day, right? We're meeting people, we're making connections, and we're having the conversation. People will say, what's your favorite group? Well, what do you do? What are you a part of? And so naturally, I'm a part of Women's Council, and I love Women's Council. So I have that conversation with a lot of realtors who then end up joining. But as far as national affiliates go, here, like locally in Northeast Ohio, we have Ohio Real Title, Jennifer O'Malley. She's now our Ways and Means Chair. We have Heather Lovejoy, who is from First American. She was our treasurer and really, really knocked it out of the ballpark with getting the systems and the tools and everything together to have a transparent financial working good system. Dedication of Lifetime Award winner, Heather Lovejoy from First American. Laura Coy, a home inspector and a veteran national affiliate, and she's now our strategic partners chair, working getting all of those partners and affiliates together and up to date and making sure they have the information they need. And even my best friend, who is also a lender, and national affiliates and partners, we encourage people to really do both to get the maximum, benefit. And just the list goes on, and what great, amazing people and their partners in my life. They're my friends, they're partners in the network, and just partners in the industry as a whole. They're all absolutely incredible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is wonderful. So it sounds like not only do you tap 8 realtor agents to join the council, but you also tap other affiliates to come in and strategic partners, which is amazing. So affiliates and strategic partners out there, this is an opportunity to be involved in an organization that, we just wrap our arms actually around everyone in the community. We are inclusive, we are diverse, and we bring everyone in for the better of all. And that's the secret, for the better of all. So I love the collaboration and I love the different angles. So thank you, Courtney, for what you do for our organization and for Ohio, because it really shows. And this is a testament that there's a place for everyone at the table and we all have a voice, right?
Yes, absolutely.
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 Well, Courtney, we are at the end of our time with Sip with Stacey today. I am so honored and to have you on our show. Do you have any closing words that you'd like to leave the audience with?
I do. I can finally mark off my bucket list that I got onto Sip with Stacy. So thank you for having me. To all of our friends from across the country, I cannot wait to see you at mid-year. And I just want to give a shout out to Nevada Women's Council and Las Vegas Women's Council because they are wonderful friends. They are great role models, and they have really set the example and the bar high. Our network really looks up to them, and we are also in a very friendly way coming for you. And we mean that with all of like the best intentions. Like, you guys, that's such a great example. Your growth is out of this world. You have this huge, wonderful, booming network and state network, and always fun and great things. You're all so close, and it's a great example for us to look to. And so we can't wait to see you all soon too. And we enjoy watching all of our friends across the country. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, because when I was just at your Ohio State meetings, I heard there was a little friendly banter for membership totals with you in Nevada. So I love that.
We love them. We love all those girls out there.
Yeah, no, they're wonderful. In fact, when I was network president in 2015 for Scottsdale, Jillian Batchelor from Nevada was network president, and we each had the same amount of members, which was about, I think, like 30. And look what Nevada has done, and Northeast Ohio. So, I mean, they have just grown by leaps and bounds. Those ladies have it going on. So, and so do you. So, well, thank you so much for being on. Thank you for what you do for our organization, for the council, and spreading the love to everyone. And have a wonderful day, Courtney.
You have a wonderful day too, Stacy. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for being on.